Yes, sir. So yeah, welcome to the podcast, man. Choose to Create podcast. This is episode 5. I'm here with the legendary, the homie man from GP. You dig? DNC Media, bro. Chris, you feel me? Ceebz. Well, I know him as Chris, but Ceebz, you know what I mean? Ceebz. I just knew him as the cool ass white dude with the mullet. Always on his business.
I'm bringing the mullet back. I think it's time.
Yeah. Literally, man. I don't know who the fuck I honestly, bro, I always seen you working and I just didn't know who you were. I'm like, bro, whatever he's doing, he's like giving me energy. Yeah. Like I'm like, yo, I gotta go grind too. And use content creation. So like even though we didn't like initially like link up like right away, like we did see each other like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, well, because you were doing photography a lot at the time. And I was doing video. No, we did like that motif shoot together too.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So we got a chance to like work together. And then during COVID, no one was in the office but us, like every single day.
Yeah.
And that's when we just had time to talk more and kind of like go deeper with what we were doing in business and figure some shit out.
Right. So yeah, man. So I want to welcome Ceebz to the podcast, man. That's the dude that I ran into during a pandemic during COVID. My whole entire business had crashed. I came from the event photography space, and I was just in that thing, grinding, meeting up, going there every single day. And this is one of the dudes that I actually we connected. We did a motif commercial together, whatever the case may be. I came through, and he connected with me, and he was like, "Yo, let's do it. I'm doing a webinar. Listen to my stuff. Like, you might benefit from this." And I literally listened to this webinar for like probably about 30 minutes. Probably to an hour. 30 minutes to an hour was the whole conversation, right? Afterwards, I was like, okay, I know keywords, and I know when somebody's making sense. I know I'm into business. You feel what I'm saying? So I know when somebody's saying keywords that make sense, but I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what he's talking about. So I got to understand this. I got to understand what he's saying. And so after the meeting, I hollered at you. I was like, bro, what was that you was talking about? Like that NLC. He's like, I asked you about that, and then you informed me about that. You're like, yo, this is this program I'm part of. I have a business coach. You told me about a business coach.
Yeah.
So this is a guy that literally helped me grow my whole entire business. Everything you see me doing with Content Factory right now, like it literally came from this one conversation, like a 30-minute webinar, literally. And this moment changed my whole entire business, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So, Ceebz, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that great introduction.
I appreciate it, man.
I just have to add that I didn't really do much. I just talked to you for about an hour, and then you did all the work. So, kudos to you for making that happen. But yeah, that's what happened to me. Like, let me take a step further back because I started doing content about 5-6 years ago now, and just went at it like figuring it all out on my own. And you go through it's such a crazy journey because you don't know who to listen to, who's right. You don't know how that applies to like your specific situation. So I was like always hunting for someone just to teach me, and I would like reach out to other business owners here, and they're always too busy. And then like other people, other places, I'm not going to just fly out to like go to a shoot or something like that. So it was just hard to like get people to teach you. And then when I found a couple like groups through YouTube with business coaches teaching content creators how to sell, how to build their business, how to run ads so they can charge 10 times more, whatever, like it changed my life. And I remember I was talking to someone and I was like, I told them about telling you about the program. They're like, but he like works at your same office, like in your same city. Aren't you like worried about that? I'm like, fuck no. Like I would way rather him like connect the dots on this like it did for me, because I just figured that stuff out 6 months before that, So I was super stoked. I was like, dude, you have to check this out because it changed the game for me. And I think you can say it did pretty well for you too.
Nah, for sure. So what makes you like that though, bro? Because like that's not a normal thing. Like when you saying that right now, it's like, yo, damn, you gotta have a level of like fearlessness. Like you have to have a level of confidence. you have to have a level of like sureness in your capabilities that you don't see someone else as competition. You feel what I'm saying? Like you I'm giving the game like because you gave me the whole entire game. Like you didn't even hold nothing back. Like you were like, yo, yes,
here's my numbers, here's my costs, here's my this, here's my that. Like
I was like, where? I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, cool. Like literally and using that information, signing up. Like right after that conversation, I called on the coach, Next Level Creators.
Yeah.
Called the coach, and
it was a big it was like a big investment too.
It was.
It wasn't like
it was.
I was like, dude, it costs a lot, but like I'm telling you, within the first month,
it was.
You're gonna be like, I made everything back, like, and everything's changed. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's not so.
Yeah. And that goes to like not only you having a good heart, but us also showing up every day. Because when COVID happened, everything shut down. It was about February 10th, and then I say between February 10th and February 17th, I lost all of my clientele.
Yeah,
like all of the jobs that was booked was canceled. Mm-hmm. Everything got postponed.
Dude,
I just showed up. I just showed up, bro.
That was for the first time in business in like what 3-4 years, I guess at that point, that I had like 30-40 grand in jobs sold for the next like 3 months. And like when you're getting started in business, you have these ups and downs. You get projects in, you know, you got to do the work. Then you need to get more sales coming in. You never have like steady rise. And I was like, finally, like it's all like we're booked for months, and that dropped like overnight. But
how did that feel like when that happened?
It was terrible. And I really learned a huge lesson though during that time, because like you said, part of what I've learned along this journey is how important putting like routines and practices and just like certain standards in your life. So showing up every day, even if you don't know what you're doing, sitting there to figure it out versus like, well, I don't know what to do today, so I'm just going to go do nothing, you know? So us being in there every day, I learned so much because I actually had the time to learn that next stuff instead of just being busy with projects. And like the biggest thing I learned from that time was you can slow down for like a month, 2, 3, 6, a year if you need to. And like it can be the strongest thing to let you level up to that next level. So instead of just like getting more and more jobs and being more and more busy, it let us like restructure things and repackage them and repitch them to figure out how to sell content retainers instead of just like one-off projects, and then actually run ads and build distribution funnels for them too. But showing up, and then I think it's how you look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Like going back to what you're saying, you just gave it all away. It's like, to me, there's so much opportunity right now. Like it is just every single person needs content or wants content just because we live in a social media world now, you know?
Exactly.
And it makes sense from like an investment standpoint to have full-time content creators helping you with stuff. So I'm just like, dude, there's so much opportunity. You can take this in any direction you want. The chances that you're going to, one, follow me and like go after the same clients I'm going for is very rare. And then secondly, that you'll catch me is even rarer. So, but I'm just like, here's the whole playbook. Like I know for me to figure this out took a couple months or whatnot, you know, it's going to take you a couple months. And at the end of the day, I knew you were the type of person who was going to figure it out no matter what, right? Like there's certain people, you know, are just going to figure it all out anyways, because they have the drive and they're not going to stop. Like when we started everything, that's how we got going. You don't stop. You just kind of got to keep plugging at it every day. But like you learn that like I'll be successful whatever direction I go, but if I can have someone to help me get there faster and learn under them, like that's where you 10x your speed with everything. Like, and you're building your network. Like, so to me, it's just fun.
Yeah. And you actually learn your stuff even better, even faster when you're teaching somebody, because they're going to ask you questions. And that makes you want to be on top of your shit even more, because it's like, yo, I just finished this course. I need to keep this thing going, right? But yeah, no, that's dope. Like even with the retainers, like so before COVID, right? Like in 2019, woke up one day and I was like, I ran to Raul. You know Raul.
Yeah.
I was like, Raul, hey, bro, everything is going to be a subscription. Your groceries, your clothes, the way you cut your hair.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be a subscription. So we have to change our whole business model into subscription somehow.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So once everything crashed with the event photography thing, I was like, okay, everything slowed down. No, like content creators have enough time to like chill and do nothing. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's pitch this idea about doing content for businesses every single month.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were just doing it. We was doing it for free. And this before we met you. So by the time I met you and you had that conversation, and then by the time I joined the course, I closed the client within like the first 2 weeks. Like while I was in the course.
It's crazy, man.
I literally closed like the biggest client that I've ever like done before. Crazy. Yeah.
Because it happened to me, it happened to you. So now, like, so anyone else who's listening or watching, so I've actually stepped in to actually be the like head coach and CEO of that program now. So I'm taking everything that I've learned under Paul, who is my mentor. I'm rebuilding it based on everything that we've learned, updating it, and now I'm everyone's success coach, basically. So the same conversation that we had just to get you in the program, like now I'm actually working with them one-on-one. The point being, now that I'm on the other side, like I saw how it was one little shift, right? One little shift in my mind and just like seeing something a different way that changed everything. Same thing that happened with you. Now, like working on the other side and coaching people and just helping them make that one shift in their brain, and then like seeing the dots connect. Like I told you, one of our kids within the first month, he's done $17,000 in sales plus a $2,500 retainer every month, and he's never sold more than like a $2,000 project before.
Dope.
So just by him like connecting a few of the other dots and having some kind of system to actually work in, like systems are everything. Like as you build your business, how many systems do you have?
Oh man, a lot.
Right.
Everything is documented.
So we made like I'm basically trying to like think about like if you were to buy into a franchise, right? They give you the playbook on how to do everything, and this is everything. I'm trying to do the same exact thing, basically build the blueprint that any creator can kind of implement into their business, but then still be able to take in whatever direction like interests them the most. So for me, it's travel and hospitality. Like I wanted to work with hotels. I wanted to go all over the world, etc. So I took the same concepts and applied it there. There's people that are doing it with nonprofits. There's people that are doing it with like in the music industry, tired of selling one-off music videos to artists who are just like, dude, but it got, a couple thousand views. Like, I don't know if it's worth spending another couple $1,000 on that. So instead they're helping them build their personal brand with monthly content and that kind of stuff. So it's just like, I'm seeing a much bigger vision of you see how many people need this. And like, if we can truly change the game with content creators who understand this, like what are the ripple effects of that? Exactly. What are the ripple effects of creative people now being able to set up a profitable business and now have all this other time to do things that truly like fulfill them? For me right now, I'm all in on coaching. Like I don't need to spend nearly as much time running my business. It's like 5-10 hours tops a week. So I have all this other time to be working on something that I'm really passionate about because I struggled with it for freaking years and years and years, So I see the other people that have been in my other mastermind groups that are now, 3-4 years in, that are doing several $100,000 a year in business as well. And like what they're doing too with their time, right, is also finding ways to like give back and build community and help others do this too. So
dope.
There's a much bigger thing going on.
I'm loving it, man. And it's from everything you were telling me, man, I got 3 main parts from it. One, it's you can make a lot of money from this.
You can make as much money as you want. Like,
there's no ceiling, literally.
Well, it's not even with
2. Another one is you guys are adding so much value to whoever you're working with that they're paying you to make all this money because you're making them money.
Yep.
And then 3, you're adding value to other people. So you're adding value to other to other companies with your content, right?
Yep.
And then you adding value to other content creators.
Oh yeah.
With your whole blueprint on how to add value to other businesses so you can make money.
Yeah, we're changing the game.
You get what I'm saying?
That's what we're here to do. We're not fucking around.
That shit is crazy.
And there's ways to make it all work. It
Man.
goes back to like the abundance mindset. Like everyone's struggling with this. People coming out of college don't want to go work boring corporate jobs and do this stuff. And once they learn digital marketing, they're building personal brands and just getting paid to do it over there. So there's, in my opinion, there's going to be a monster need for people who truly understand marketing. There was like, I don't know the exact stat, but 4,000 times more businesses started in the last 2 years than the previous years before that. Now, the tools with the internet, the tools that exist for entrepreneurs, you can build a 7-figure company as a solo person. Like, it's crazy. There's people that are making $1 million a month teaching others how to work out using like online. Like $1 million a month. That's mind-blowing to me. And they're providing so much value to all their students and whatnot, you know? So I'm excited to just keep going down that rabbit hole and see how it can change with, advancements in technology, advancement in platforms, how to build, even set up if everyone's running the same formula and system, how do you build a back end just to support them all with everything? How do you build some, I don't know. I'm just always thinking of ideas, dude.
Yeah.
Shiny object syndrome,
But hey, man, but you found it's a lot of things in that as well. It's like you found your niche, right? And you maximizing on that. Like you're building around that niche. You're building a team around that niche. And just even with that, it's like collaborating with teams, having new team members come along and work with you, coming from internships to like now being like doing all of the videos or making everything happen, to the point where you can even leave a set and he's doing the whole set for you. He's covering the whole production with you, and you're not even worried. You like, I know 100% everything is going smooth.
Well, for instance, next week, 2 of us are going to Mexico to work with a cruise line. And then there's 3 other people that are going to be in Philadelphia basically covering a conference. So, I mean, I'm not even going to have service. We're going to be like in the ocean with whale sharks and then got a whole other team running a conference. So I get to make money on the conference and on that shoot plus coaching. So now it's like, how do we stack the next investments? To me, it's like, how do you keep freeing up your time to do more of what you want? Right? Like that's the end goal with I feel like everyone. So how do you continue to be smart with putting money into real estate, or like I was telling you before, buying RVs through the company that we can use for shoots, but then also can be rented out to like with all these other platforms. Once again, there's all these ways that you can start like earning once you just go down a rabbit hole and invest some time into it. I think people just see like the end product and they're like, that's impossible. Like, how am I going to get 1 million YouTube followers or whatnot? And they don't realize that the people that have done that are the ones that show up every day for years and years and years. And like, if you can do something that you can dedicate the next 5 to 7 years to, and that is your end product and your end goal, and you can reverse engineer your ways to get there, you can do it. Like, I'm a firm believer that like anyone can do this stuff now with the information that's out there, and like if they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, 100%. And just having, like how you were saying, that that tribe, having that team, that tribe that's on the same path with you. And when I say that team, that tribe, I'm really just saying like mainly like get around people that's having these type of conversations. Right?
Exactly.
Because just having those type of conversations, and that's why I was saying, like, so a lot of people could have a gift and they'll just like throw that shit away. They won't even know how to make use of it, right?
Yeah.
They could go through a course just like how we went through the same course, right? And they could just see the information and just throw it away. You know what I mean? Oh, this is crap, whatever. Not even use it. But then there's some people that understands and like, okay, this makes sense. So all I got to do is say it like this. All I got to do is do this. Like, okay, let's try it.
I think you gotta have.
I tried it and it worked.
That attitude is what some people like. I think really struggle with is the like, I'll try it. Like, I'll just go all in and just see what happens. Like, if so many other people have seen this success or done it this way. So I guess like the start of my entire like entrepreneurship journey on my own, the first book I read all talked about just like how to be a more successful person. It was, what was it? I don't know, some book by Napoleon Hill. But it was basically like, so many people are going to read this and not do anything that I tell them to do. Like, and the people that do it are the ones that I promise you in the next 5-10 years are going to be like the biggest successes that they never thought were possible. So go through this book. And that was the point when I was working at a car dealership before this, and I was so burnt out. I was just like, hated life. I was working like 70, 80-hour weeks, maybe 4 or 5 days off a month. So by the time I quit, I was just like so burnt out and just so drained. And I was like trying to figure, I had no idea what I was going to do. Like I had no idea I was jumping into video.
So you quit without having a,
I
like,
just
another
jumped,
job?
man. I jumped a week before my salary was going to double. That's how I was just like, it was like, what more money is going to do what? Like,
Okay.
I have zero soul left.
What
in
happened
my
next? How did you like? What?
So it took 3 days to quit because they were so surprised.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, I have no idea what I want to do. I have no idea what direction to sprint in. Everyone's telling me just like follow your passion. You'll never work a day in your life. I remember everyone's like, just find your why. And it's like, and I'm like, what the fuck is my why? Like, how do you know that? And you read these books or whatever. And it's just like, oh, I went on this trip and everything became crystal clear. And I'm like, I've been on a lot of trips. Like, I'm not very crystal clear. So I was just searching. I was just searching for answers. And I was like, I remember I just said like, I'm going to figure this out. There's so many other people in history that have figured it out. And the more you read, the more you realize like success is a formula. And if you just take the right steps in the formula and put in the work, like you'll get there. Like you'll change your life. But most people like culturally are brought up to believe that it's just like, oh, just like go with the herd. And like, that's what you're supposed to do, follow these paths. And like that leads to happiness. And then they do. And then they get to the spot and they're like, this feels so weird and wrong. So that's where I was at, sitting at a car dealership, being like, what am I doing? Is this the rest of my life? Like, I don't get it. Like, it just doesn't, like, how do people do this? So I remember I knew I wanted to travel. So I remember reading about a vision board, and I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. So, but I said, fuck it. Like, I'm going to try everything. Like, I surrendered to, like, the universe and just said, like, I don't care how stupid it is. I will record, like, myself saying affirmations and listen to it every morning and say it out loud too. I'll build a vision board. So I put on the vision board, just started putting things up that like either wanted or wanted to go do. And it was a lot of travel stuff and just like work from anywhere. So I'm like, okay, I need to reverse engineer. I want to travel and go all the most amazing places and just like be in the sunshine all the time. I'm a professional bronzer. You know that. Like always got to be at the pool or at the beach. Just like my end goal is just like to be anywhere, anytime with anyone doing anything, right, in the sun. So now I need to reverse engineer how to get there. So I knew I wanted to travel, and I'm like, what skills could I like in order to travel full time or whatever? You need to make money on the road. So what skills can I learn? So the first thing I actually did was I spent 2 months and I just started teaching myself to code. I was going through JavaScript, HTML, CSS, all that stuff. That's when I joined General Provision. And I join, when I go all in, I go all in. So I was like listening to coding podcasts. I was going to coding meetups. I was just doing anything I could possibly to learn more, to surround myself with coders. And it was a very, like, after 2 months, I'm like, this isn't right. Like, it's not, I can't do this 12 hours a day every single day. Like, just write words. Like, it just wasn't connecting with me. So I looked back at my board and I was just like, all right, I mean, this made sense, but like, this isn't it. But while I was doing that, I met a kid through the coding meetups who was a virtual reality developer, and he built VR programs. So then the idea kind of pivoted into, what if we built these things and I'll create the content for these VR worlds with drones and 360 cameras, and you build like a high rise before it goes up so that they can sell them pre-sale. People can walk through the units in VR goggles. They can see their view from the 10th floor, the 20th floor, the 30th floor. That's when I got the drone. So I started posting a couple of those photos, and it didn't work out with the VR kit after a couple months, but someone reached out and said, hey, I got $250 if you can take a couple photos of this house I'm selling. And it was the first $250 that I made on my own, like on my own, probably like ever. It was always a job, you know, an employer or something like that. And I was like, maybe this is cash flow. So I did that. And then I was I'm like, okay, real estate, how can I get in front of realtors, right? If they're willing to pay me like this guy just did. So I found a local Facebook page that just was all about urban planner. It's all about just real estate news in South Florida. And I reached out and said, hey, I'd love to help you with some content. So I just made a sick drone video, posted it. That got 10,000 views in like overnight. And that led to the next couple jobs. I got like an event from that, a law video. And then I was just like, okay, we found cash flow. And I'm like, this is not what I envisioned. I literally said to myself, I'll never be a videographer. Like, I'm so above that almost, you know? And then as I started going, I was just like, it didn't work out with the VR kit because I was trying to manage and build something that I had no idea or know anything about, you know? And everyone wants to come out with this next like tech app or freaking new sexy business idea and raise funding and do all this, and they have no idea what they're doing. Like, they don't know how to sell headphones. I don't know, whatever. But I realized, like, if I just do this and I start from the bottom and I just keep going, I'll find ways to like build up and remove myself and get someone else to do the video. And when I know how to do video well, I can teach them how to do video well. And I know how to edit well, I can teach them to edit well if needed. I'll know when someone says, hey, this took 20 hours, okay, that makes sense. Or how did that take you 20 hours? Versus working with the VR guy, I was like, I know, dude, you could have spent a month on this or 2 minutes, and I have no concept of it. So I think a lot of people overcomplicate because of ego. I for sure did. Even as I was building, I wanted to add all these other services to just appear bigger and do more, yes, to help my clients, but also like there was something in me that was like, I don't want people just to think of me as this, you know, I want them to see the bigger picture of it all. So like you can start a home cleaning business today and just do the service well and keep finding new clients and keep getting referrals, and you scale that into $1 million business. Like, I read a case study on it very recently. So,
but you're a go-getter, and you know how to make sense. You got critical thinking skills. You know how to make sense out of no sense. You know how to, hey, I'm a seller. I'm a hustle. I'm a figure it out, and I'm gonna put my best foot forward with it. You feel what I'm saying? For you to leave a job without another job or no other game plan, create a vision board.
Yeah.
Go out there, get an office, show up at GP.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Or
I mean,
sign up at GP and
to me it was just
collaborate
no
and
other
get
option.
into coding.
No other
That's crazy, bro. Like, that's dope though, because like that's what it takes. It takes like being willing to follow the breadcrumbs, grinding,
right,
seeing
but
what
was
happens.
my worst case
thing.
scenario? Walk back to the dealership, say, hey, I want my job back, make 6 figures again.
Okay.
Like, get a job anywhere for a couple months, get a sales job, move back home, which I did for a year. I moved back with my parents just to like cut costs and say I would rather like invest the time to keep like learning and building this right versus just like needing a sweet place to tell people I'm doing well. I was like, I can remove my ego from this easy. You know, I want to travel. I don't even want to pay rent. And then it just like, once I started, like, cause I saw it. I saw when I was sitting at the dealership, I had 10 hours a day just to mess around on the computer because there was never any work to do.
Yeah.
Really messed up business. So I would just be on YouTube and I would see these guys doing travel vlogs. I remember seeing Fun for Lewis and Casey Neistat and being like, who are these like not even that attractive looking dudes that have millions of views on their videos that are just traveling and making like, I can do this. like I could do this even better. Like
Yeah.
I'd be way more entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I'm freaking crazy. So I remember like having that and learning about people building websites and traveling like digital nomad lifestyle and videographers doing that. And like, I just kept just diving in. Like I started learning about SEO and seeing if that was an avenue I wanted to go. And I'm like, I don't like to write, you know? So I kept getting knocked down, but kept taking action because I knew others were doing it. And like, I feel like most people look at others doing some stuff and either have like a sense of like jealousy or like, oh, influencers are the worst, like the worst people ever, which probably just stems from the fact that like they get paid a lot of money to do ridiculous stuff and whatnot.
Do things that you're not willing to do.
Right. And I remember I did like a mindset exercise one time and it's like, who are the people you like don't like the most? And that was one of the things that popped into my brain. And the way they asked the questions at the end was like, all right, now why the reasons you probably don't like the people that you named are it's because they have something that you don't want or that you want. And I was like, shit, yeah, I mean, I would love to like just keep traveling and getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and just like go on vacation all the time and get paid to do that, of course. But like, I forgot where I was going with this thought.
Nah, you was so mainly you was talking about like, okay, how you got into the whole business of everything and how everything started with the production company and how everything led. But once you got the business going, you said you got to a point where you felt burnt out in the beginning, and like how did that transition go from like, because you know how the business kind of go up and down when you got the drone thing going, the videography start popping off for you, everything start going. When did you like? Because I never had a business coach before. I chopped it up with you. Never. You know what I'm saying? How did you like? When did you start getting business coaches? Was that your first business coach? Like, how were you open to it? Somebody had to introduce you to it or something.
So so the way I started like reading was like magazines, like business magazines and stuff. Like I never could read in like high school. They would give you books and like I remember reading Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and like I never understood they were the same person the whole book. So nothing ever made sense and just like very ADHD brain if you can't tell. So I remember like I was like, all right, I got to start small. So just like little magazine articles. If I could just like read a page, I was like stoked, you know, and like, and then I got introduced to podcasts and I resonated with listening way more than reading. So I started just listening to a bunch of different podcasts, just different business stuff I would find. And I would always hear people talk about mastermind groups and their mentor and like, and just like how much they've learned and how they're willing to spend $50,000 a year just to be a part with 11 other people, you know? And I'm like, that's crazy. So I knew there was a power in it. And then one of the people I happened to be listening to, his name is Mike O'Neill. He runs the Solopreneur Hour. So all he does is kind of like talk about solopreneurship and how you can build like a 6-figure business just being a solopreneur. So he actually was opening his mastermind for the year, and I paid like $1,000 and I joined that. And I took the risk. I was like, $1,000 was a ton of money at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, this is terrifying, but I've heard it so many times through other, like when you study high performers and whatnot, and you keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again across the board, there's got to be something to it. So that's what happened with coaching. That's what happened with like mindset meditation work and stuff like that. I was always like, dude, I can't stop thinking. That's insane. And I never even gave it a thought until I heard so many different people being like, this changed the game for me. I'm like, all right, I got to try it. So anyways, I joined that first mastermind. I was in it for the year. It helped a lot. At the end of the year, the renewal came back up, and I was working with someone who did websites, someone who did, everyone had different businesses. I was the only kind of content creator. It helped though, just being a part of that, showing up, talking to them. So I knew I wanted to find something more specific to videographers and video people. So I didn't renew. And then I found the next coach on YouTube when I was searching how to sell video production services at higher rates. So I watched one video. I was like, whoa, Like, it was one of those moments where like all you need to hear is this one line and you're like, all the dots connected.
Yeah.
And then I watched 20 more videos that day of his. I spent like 4 hours. I watched every video, and then I joined his free Facebook group. I read his book. And at that point, I like learned so much in 2 days, and they had a program for $2,000. And I was like, dude, even if I pay them $2,000 and get nothing out of this, like I already got so much value from them that I would literally just hand them $2,000 right now. I joined that program, and within like a week, I closed my first $5,000 deal. Like 1 week, I was so scared to make that investment. They shifted me. They helped me put together a proposal. They helped me close a deal. And I was like, wow, that worked fast. So then like a year after that, their higher level mastermind came open for $5,000. And this time I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like the past 2 times it's helped tremendously. So within jumping in that, and then I closed my first $20,000 deal within like 2 weeks of that. So I stayed in that group and like just kept going with it. And for like 2 years I was running with that group. And I kind of got to that spot where like after you spend like a year, like if you're just learning content, right, and you put a full year into it, you're going to get pretty dialed in on content. It's going to be like, all right, what's next? You know? I got to that point where I'm like, all right, I know how to sell videos at high rates now. We know how to make epic videos. But like something still, like the hunt, the closing deals, the amount of time and energy putting into outbound research, following up with clients, talking to clients, doing proposals, figuring out projects. Like there was so much energy that just went into getting a new client. And I was like, how can we just not do that? So, and I thought ads was the way to do that. I was like, I can lock them in because I can then prove to them like results. I can show them everything. So I think I paid $8,000 to join Paul's program when I signed up. And I was like $30,000, $35,000 in debt at the time too, because I was pushing the business forward. I was hiring people. I was like, and that's where it just wasn't, I'm like, I can't scale this business model. This is not like, if we lose people, if we lose equipment, like it just was not there. And then I said, we have to figure something else out. Plus working with clients, like, you know, it's not always fun driving to shoots, like having them reschedule. Like I knew the least amount of shoots we could do, the better. So I joined Paul's program about ads. I was super skeptical for like a year or two because I'm like, I signed up to be a video creator, not like fucking digital marketer who's just running Facebook ads, like being a nerd. But I realized if I could put in that little bit of work up front to understand it and know it, like what I could then do with it and the amount of free time I would have would be so worth that work, because it always was every step of the way. So I did, and then like 2 weeks later, dude, $25,000 deal with a $2,000 a month retainer for the year. A project I was only going to pitch for like $7,500, but they helped me position it. So I got, instead of like $7,500, $48,000 over the year from that client, and worked with them for a full other year after that. And I was like, okay. And that was like right around when we were connecting, because I got that deal in. I was like, bro, I'm telling you, like, this is how this shoot just went. This is how I sold it for. This is the formula you can use. Like, bro.
Yeah. And that's dope, man. That's dope. Because like, even the fact you were still willing to give that information, I was like, okay, you with it, I'm with it, you know. But nah, that's official right there, bro. Like that course, and just being willing to like bet on the fact that you'll figure it out. You're gonna take this information. I'm not gonna just read this book and not use it. Even if I read 1 page or 2, I don't have to read the whole book. I just gotta take this basic information and apply it and use it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna figure this shit out. You know what I mean? And that's really what that, going from one course is like, okay, I hit like that all the time too. Cause that's where I was even when I bumped into you. I'm like, I was trying to figure this shit out, honestly, by myself. So I was like, okay, I know subscriptions is the way.
Right.
But how can I like package it in the right way?
So
You know
what
what I
is
mean?
like, what I realized is it's one thing to have like overall theory of how to do something.
Yeah.
And then it's very different to have someone say, as a content creator, this is what you need to do. This is who you need to go after. This is the steps to follow, etc. because like, yeah, subscription models, obviously. But it's like, okay, what packages do we pitch? What's the appropriate price to pitch? Who should we go after? What's the best way to position it? How can we show them like results that they're going to get with this pack? Like there's all these other things that come up. So I've just been a big fan. Like even with the people I'm working with now, they're like working on their first contracts. Just like, here's my contract. Like, here's a $25,000 contract. Here's a $10,000 a month retainer. You know, like take this, make it your own, knowing it's just going to help them go faster and like not get screwed, because I've been screwed. Like it sucks. You know, so especially like these bigger companies or people that are taking advantage of creators who don't understand their worth and what they're providing and what their content is actually doing when implementing correctly, like that pisses me off because I'm a creator.
Hey man, you over here dropping knowledge, man, over here. Like it's like basically get your contracts in order, get your sales process down. Like it's fun that you like look, that's what I'm taking from like, okay, we creating all this dope ass art, but hey, here's how you send a proposal. Here's how you know what I mean? It's the sales process. It's like that's what really like really once I heard it, I was like, hold on, they saying some stuff.
Dude,
up in here
every
course.
like yeah,
like literally, like I'm like I'm gonna say the same exact thing and put my spin on it,
and it fucking works. It's a formula.
Yeah,
it's a formula, literally, of how to do it, which is like once again blew my mind. But like, so everything in business is systems, right? Like you have a sales system, you have a marketing system, you have an accounting system, you have your production systems. You know, like the same. You back up footage the same way every time. You do your folders the same way every time. Why? Because there's no mental energy that like you need to then put into it, and you can be using your mental energy to tackle your bigger problems, which are how to free up more of your time or scale your business further or be a better person, whatever it is.
Add more value to your client.
Right. So like think about driving.
Yeah.
Right? Driving is something that most people do a lot, and when they do, if you're driving home from work or something, how often will you just be home and be like, damn, dude, I don't remember the drive. Driving is literally one of the most dangerous activities that you can do every single day. And you're on autopilot, not even thinking about anything that's happening.